ここで取るのはザヤがカイサー、もしくはレル、マオカイ。そういえばバンされてません、マオカイ。ファーストピック。今までファーストピック、ザヤが取られることがザヤかラカンが取られることが多かったんですけど、ラカンがバンされていて、ザヤピックされずマオカイですか。そして、BDS がザヤと勝率が非常に低いリーシを見せているんですけど、本当にピックするんですか。しませんね、セジャーニです。バンから漏れたマオカイセジャーニ出てきます。ジェイス、マオカイとジェイスはとても強い。 ADAT でダメージバランスがばらけてるし、マオカイの視界を取る能力がジェイスをとても助けてくれると、CC に対してジェイスのバーストダメージも合わせやすいと、カイサを取るんじゃないでしょうか。ここで取らないと取れませんからね。カイサ取ります。うまく多分ミッドジェイスなんですけど、ジェイスに対して有効なピック、もしくはジャングル、ジャングルはセジャーに取りました。失礼。もしくはサポート、メルが空いてますよ。
Most played for Gemini in summer, and Jimin's second most played in Jace, assuming that is going there.
アジール。ジェイス対アジールですね。アジールはかなりナーフされて、レーニングが弱体化しているんじゃないでしょうか。そしてバンフェイズ。何バンするんですか。サポートのトップですけど、カサンテバン。最強チャンピオンカサンテをバンしていく。アダムさんのダリスが空いてますよ。大丈夫ですか。
They will need to be slightly aggressive if they are getting poked out. They do need to find their times to go in.
ダリス空いてますよ。
Because otherwise, CFO might continue to opt into the range advantage that they currently have.
ダリスバンしましたね、やはり。バンしないといけない、このチャンピオンは。
Nautilus would be the easy assumption to go alongside the Kaisa. Reo is also up and available.
I think it's also very questionable about whether you want to take it blind or not, because if CFO somehow end up with two more shorter, beefier carries coming in from the top and support position, maybe a Braum can look good, which is Lebrov's one of his favorite champions, it seems like, with how much he plays it, and you could save your counter pick then for support. But then that doesn't always feel great to go support 5th, and then if you don't get that angle and you just lock in what you were expected to lock in anyways, it doesn't quite feel as good, and then you're taking last pick away from Adam, who can have game-winning performances, so ideally I would like to see that taken away into something a little bit more normal.
レネクトンバン、トップに2体さえできました。でもトップワード出しできますよ。これ、ボットでアリスターを先出しましたね。レルが空いてますけれども、どうでしょうか。レルですね。
So blind pick Alistair is the choice. Response here wouldn't be surprising to see the Rel. I think the matchup is less easy post rework because you used to be able to interrupt the snare with the E on demand on old Rel, but not entirely confident.
そしてアラムに対してトップレーン先出しになりますけれども、先出しできるトップレーンチャンピオン何がいますか。ランブルも消されてますし、レネクトンもダリスもない。レネクトン自分たちでバンしてます。カサンテはバンされていると。カミール、いやエイテロックスですか。僕もエイテロックスだと思いました。他になさそうですから出せるのが。エイテロックス相手にアダムは何を出すんでしょう。
Adam's Aatrox. Yamato Cannon's been hyping up for a long time, and I would just like to see it
ジャックス空いてま
once
す。
or twice. But
ジャックス、カミ
let's
ール。
just go through the. Okay, so there's Garen, there's Olaf, there's Darius.
キオラも相手はいますけれども、おっ、セット。得意チャンピオン、セット出しました。
Yeah, we'll have to see. We have seen mostly gods out of Adam. I will say, even the games where he's done some silly things, it is mostly in already losing
あまり
scenarios.
使うプレイヤーは今大会初
very good worlds thus far for
セット
himself.
ピックされた
And
の
here on
1回
another
目で
one
す
of
け
his
れども
signature champions going to be making the game
まあ
about
後出しで当てたということは
him
相当自信あるんでしょう
the Sejuani passive very quickly if you come for a gank with your Q reset on your auto attacks.
エイトロック相手はジャックスとかヒオラとかカミールがキックされるのは韓国ではよく見るんですけれどもセトが当てられるのはなかなか見れないですよ
I think in general, Set is a champion that we've really only seen him a lot in pro play when he was, I think, objectively overpowered.
Yes.
But is a champion still who still has a lot of unique utility.
いやトップレーン
That still
見
puts
て
him
い
in
き
the
たい
range
で
of
すね
bruisers
どうな
like
るのか
Darius or Garen, but maybe with a bit more team fight priority at the cost of some of that individual 1v1. I can just push Q on your AD carry and they die.
And a lot of the champions that
エイトロックス
Adam
マオ
seems to
カ
be
イ
his
ジェイ
best
ス
on. The one
カ
where
イ
if
さ
you
ん
play the line correctly, it gets
出る
disgusting.
ちょっ
Olaf
と
when he
物
gets
理
really
ダ
low,
メー
he
ジ
gets
に
all
よっ
those
てはい
steroids
ま
stacked
す
up,
か
he makes some crazy plays. Set kind of like that where you have this massive
カイ
haymaker
サがい
shield
るから
that
大
can
丈夫か
convert that into a ton of
セ
damage
ト
if
セ
you
ジュ
time
ア
it
に
right.
アジール
Then you suddenly, if you're going the Gorger, you can build to proc that to heal up a
サイヤ
ton. There's some really disgusting things you can do, and especially if the enemy is not prepared for playing against Set, which honestly,
LLL
like you said,
vs ガム
he was only
えっ
briefly
と
popular, and even then, you start to see him
これ
more
結果言っちゃっていい
support
のか
other
な
positions than even top lane.
えっと
Mid
ガ
lane
ム
Set,
が
I think even probably had a
勝利しましたよ
more of an impact on pro play the top lane Set ever did. Or
ガム
support
が
Set.
勝ちました
We gear up
Damn
in
it.
this game
Whoa.
Reiner elimination match. Winner will play against PSG Town in a best of 5. Winner of that will make it through to the Swiss
こん
stage.
にちは
Swiss
BDS
draw
が
happening, I
上
believe,
キ
at
ッ
the
ク
end
し
of
た
the
ことに
broadcast
より
tomorrow. So you can see what
遠
all
戦
of
で有利
those
を
first
作る
round
ことが
matchups
できま
look
す
like.
瀬戸は序盤が
That's
強
a
く
very
遠
exciting draw.
戦で相手チャンピオンを
Yes.
ボ
No
コ
more
ボコに
groups
する
of
ことが
death.
できます
Just a lot of scary teams and a high chance that you'll get drawn into one of them coming out of planes.
Yeah, pool 1 will draw from pool 4, pool 2 will draw against pool 3, and the only limitation being you cannot play against your own
相手
region.
チ
So
ームの状況に応
quite
じた
a
アイ
bit
テム
of
選択などが
opportunities for some spicy matchups early on.
ただふんわりとした
RNG somehow ends up
ふんわりとしたご意見をいただきましたけれどもこれは何ですか
pool 4, are they?
チャット GPT の
I'm going to be
No,
honest.
it would be
セド
Cookies.
対エイトロックスの感想ですか
I'm just saying
Weibo's
yeah
pool
to you
for L.
because I have not looked at the pools and was going to wait for
I
the
can just
draw.
get you to say yes to anything then. Don't tell me that, man. I'm just gonna lie to you. Be like, oh yeah.
本当にうまい方が勝つと
Yeah, you remember that part?
いうことだと思います
Never mind.
EDG's at the tournament, by the way.
セ
Definitely.
トは征服者出るか聞いてみたら
ADG
ふわっ
pool
と
what?
帰ってきた
6?
そうですね
Separate pool?
Yeah.
Carpool?
Kiddie pool.
To the airport?
チャット GPT の回答だと感じまして僕も
You know, gotta save money on taxes. Gotta be efficient.
ジェイスファーストストライクですね
Anyway,
Back to reality here. Early on,
発動
very
するの
familiar
かな
matchup
そん
for
なに
anyone in the summer split. A lot of this is pretty similar stuff to what
フェ
we've
イズ
been
ラッシュ
seeing.
ではないと
A lot of the newer champions getting banned out or not focused down.
なのでガンク耐性は低いで
This
す
is, I
こ
think,
のジェ
a
イスの
very
ルーン
good test case game for both these teams who are happy to play slow and trust their late game decision making and scaling and
今
setups.
回はザヤもクレンズとまあマオカイもいるし
Adam making
ベ
a
ル
little
もいる
flipping
の
on
で
top side.
クレンズ持たざるを得ないですか
Early lanes is a champion exclusively
プ
when he has
レは
his
当
Q
然
up and
序盤
available, which is a very long
セト
early
は
cooldown.
強いですから
Getting a nice trade there, and
で
you're
も
trying to
ボコ
extend
ボ
it
コ
to
に
get
す
the
る
better
こと
side
が
of
で
the
き
back
る
end
ら
of
し
the
い
trade.
から期待
This
や
little punt back from
そう
LeBron
ですね
on
トッ
level
プレーン
1.
はすでにエイテロックスがポーション使わされてますから
Establish a lane advantage here.
そしてプッシュの主導権も完全にセトにあるとこれジャングリオンでだいぶでしょう
I love this. You can already see with the early wars that they
これ
drop
トッ
with
プ
their
ダイブです
traditional crazy BDS level
今
ones.
から
They're very
エイトロッ
aggressive
ク
with
スさん
it,
死
tend
に
to
ま
try to do
す
things to set up plays. They know that right now, Sheo is camping this brush to see if Maokai
あれ
crosses over
セ
to
ジャーニ
the
さん
top
来ない
side
そう
jungle,
です
trying to find him, and he's not doing it. So there's
ミ
two
ッドへの
potential
大
dives.
ポ
Looks
優
like he's
先です
focused
か
more on Jimmy in right here, but Gemini's making it in the bot side.
助け
Level
てボッ
1
トレ
just
ー
not
ン
gonna get level 2. Cleansing out to safety, but he doesn't have a lot of
が
feathers.
お
Lay
さ
down,
す
maybe
がに
get the
難しいですよこのレベル帯のだいぶ
What an aggressive
こ
play
れは
out of
セ
CFO
ト
gets
が
punished
キスし
immediately.
ようとしたの
The teleport that
をエ
was
イトロッ
coming
クスに
through
止められました
looks
ね
like Adam was not able to finish showing up there, got
そして
interrupted.
ダイブに失敗し
No.
レルが指導ザヤにターンで1キル入りました
They might turn that into a dive.
えちょっとすぐさタワーダメージが
Get more WD.
W で返していく W ないからこれもうガンクできないんじゃないですか
Rest,
ちょっ
nice
と
easy
ガン
get
クは
out
無
of
理
the
です
true damage from the haymaker there, playing that little mini game. And I assume that for the
い
Aatrox
や
this
この
matchup
レ
is
ベル
pretty tough,
3での
but
ダイ
especially
ブ
in the
本
early
当に
phases,
難しいですから
where
ザヤもアリスターも体力が十分にあった状態ですから
Lebrov.
ここのだいぶ難しい。マオカイもう一回ボットに来るけれども両方フラッシュあるのでデスすることはないでしょう。アリスターレルの WO9 での、止めてフラッシュを切ることなくガンクをかわしていく。
That is questionable decision making there, and I think BDS has done a good job reacting to this game against thus far.
だいぶ
しに行ってせいにタダで1キル入りましたから。ボットレーンが苦しくなってます。アジールはポーション2個使ってますね。ジェイスは TT で戻ってきて涙と詰め替えポーションコントローラーを買ってきたと。
They were able to make plays against him, and I think they were maybe saying CFO looking at that series saying, hey, maybe if we do some tricky timings on ganks or dives happen, maybe we can get crowning. The idea that they tried to get the kill before they hit level 2 on that bot play made some level of sense, but of course it's very easy to hit level 2. They managed to do that, and then the repeat gank because he's low, you're thinking, hey, maybe if they are not paying attention, this will work. But unfortunately, I think Lebrov has done a good job so far in the early lane phases of interrupting any attempts to jump on top of him.
Certainly has.
これインタロックス悪くないですよ。先出しで序盤のすごい苦しい時間をうまくしのぎました。CS 差はちょっとついてますけれども、これクレンズ守ってますからね。ザヤこれアリスターがうまくレドを弾いて、アリスターがレドを飛ばすタイミングが完璧でしたね。スライムプロトさん、こんにちは。ただいま WCS をウォッチングしてますよ。
CFO instantly get punished there, and nice for Crowny to be the one to pick up the kill on the tail end of that as well.
BDS
So he accelerated into his new quiver,
CFO
last hitting a breeze.
Yeah, doubly important because you can see an early serrated dirt coming out from Kai'Sa, which means we very much expect the lethality build, usually Umbral Glaive into the Duskblade, which is
やっぱりレーンで主導権取ってる方がプッシュの主導権もいますから。CS フリーで食べられる側と敵がプッシュするのを待たないといけない側で当然 CS 差はついてくると。そしてビッグウェーブと一緒に敵のタワープレートも食べていきたいですね、瀬戸は。ここでアジールが1回目の TT でミッドに帰ります。ゴーストチャプター完成してますな。いや、ザヤがルーンクイーバー変えてるのでウェーブクリア能力がかなり強いですよ。アリスターフラッシュ中で合わせて1位カイさんのフラッシュと交換していく。
Yeah, still nice chunk out though, putting Shun in the back foot, having to burn through the single
素晴らしい仕掛けです。
still not going to take him up to full, and also giving Prio now for BDS
そして敵のボットにプレッシャーをかけた後ドラゴンを触っていきます。
Dragon stacking is their bread and butter for their early game plan.
Yeah. Go for these objectives, set up for
まあこれは取れますね。アジールも来てますから。これはフリードラゴン。ボットラウンはもう1ウェーブプッシュしてからリコールですか。おノーフラッシュ、あー惜しい。これプッシュしてリコールですね。いやこういう時にサポートミニオン吸収装置が強いな。キャノンミニオン決してすぐにレードを押せるのはこれは強い。いやプッシュしたいこのウェーブを。まあ悪くないか。
And you know, I'm not entirely confident in how this matchup goes in terms of the individual dynamics, even if we understand the champions pretty well. But obviously, the later you go as Aatrox, the more you're going to be able to ignore a lot.
カイサのキャノンは失ったのでバースト。
Which means it's hard for you to all in because if you Q3 when he's got W up, it's going to feel very, very bad. But at the same time, what is Set going to do to you? So they're both just kind of staring each other down, pushing waves in, trying to save as much tempo as they can. Chelsea.
フラッシュはありますけれども。 まあ逃げられますね。素晴らしいフラッシュ。よなっか。セジャイとフラッシュ交換。カイサは CS 取れません。今からだいぶされて死ぬらしいです。かわいそう。いやー。
No counter punch yet on the Herald coming through. Gemini bot
いや
side.
これ
a little
すぐ
bit
に
late.
だいぶ
Nothing
し
really
に
here
行く
from him. Jimmy is
素晴
gonna
らしいで
try
す
to
よ
get the wave in. It will only deny a couple creeps and potentially a plate to nuke. So still
ど
a
んどん有利が
massive
広がって
wave
ます
This is
BDS
basically the perfect dream
ミッド
start
への
that you can have
CS ロ
for
ストも
BDS,
ほと
where
ん
you
どないと
counter out all the punches out of CFO. Labrov is making moves on the map, being very proactive, comboing with Sheo, nukes moving around. They're very, very good right now. They have a 3-kill advantage here, and just heads up on knowing that Xiaoxi is
これ
going to
逃げられるかなと思ったんですけども
camping in,
ちょっ
getting
と
ready
無
to
理だっ
go.
た
The
か
fact that you had the early escape there, and then during that time, you don't really see it on the minimap only, is that Adam was messing with Jimmy, and so they are doing very, very proactive plays early on out of
まあでも
BDS
これ
here.
カイサはもうどうしようもない
clean dive, well executed, leveraging the tanky power that they have.
Okay.
Lebron's not even level 6 yet, and they're
Nice
pulling these
dive.
dives off, which is only going to get easier as we get later
で
in
も
the
こ
game.
れ
As Kai'Sa falls further and
エイトロッ
further
クスが
behind.
苦しい時間変えたので
Across the board.
これからセドが
Flashback
苦しむ番ですよ
to a stronger, earlier version of BDS.
だん
While
だ
people
ん
are really
エイト
hyping
ロ
the
ックス
Adam
に勝て
trainer
なくな
now,
ります
you
か
know, a
ら
lot of his games weren't
このレベル2まで
flashy.
の
A lot of
間
what
に
made Adam good was the amount of pressure he absorbed or his
CS
willingness
も
to
ほとんど変わら
sacrifice
ないの
himself.
で
It wasn't being 6-0 on Darius or Wampa stomping his individual 1v1 matchup. Like, that is obviously something that he can do, and people like that part of him a lot. I get why. But this version of Adam
いや
absorbs
後出しの
pressure
セ
that
ドの
disrupts enemy
パ
plans,
ワーを
that eats
ちょっ
3
と
bans
レ
in
ーン
the
で
ban
出す
phase
のは
and
難
sets you up
し
to
いか
pick what you
集
want.
団戦でうま
Is
く
the
ウル
version
トを
that we
決め
saw
るし
much
か
more in LEC.
Take a second here as
もう
Gemini
1対1
drops
で
his
有利取るの
ultimate,
難
but
しいで
does
すから
not angle that very well. Rest of the team is able to skirt right out of there.
お
Right, pull back is there. TP now coming in, or at least able to
セ
grab
ドが
that
TP して
TP.
きたけど追いつけません
Adam gonna lose a decent amount on the
とっ
top
ぷり
side.
帰るしかない
But stops the play in its tracks. Shio already starting the Herald, however, so trying to convert this into something.
Yeah, they saw a number
い
of
やトッ
resources. So
プ
even though Adam ends
の
up
ロ
going
ス
down
ト
to
が
the
ちょ
bot
っ
side
と
of
大
the
きい
map,
アジールが
Gemini's
ト
on
ッ
top,
プ
meaning
に
that
代わり
you
に
still
行って
have roughly even numbers, and the rest of BDS is just
あ
going
ザ
to
ーがミッドに来ま
continue
した
getting
それでセ
escorted
ドが
out
ボ
of
ッ
the
トに
bot
と
river into mid lane to make this play happen.
セジャニがプレッシャーを受けてますけれどもヘラルドが取れますね
Infernal chains, dash, walk out. CFO are here, but it's
フラッ
way
シュない
too
けど
late.
デスはしないでしょう
Yeah,
Okay,
looks like they're gonna be
flash
able to get away free. Oh, flashing in.
Ah.
Push back on the shuffle, now trying to
Oh.
escape. Jimmy and
エイトロックスのフラッシュを取ったとマークインエイトロックスでフラッシュでセジャニを切りに成功と
CFO get a bit of a counterpunch.
相手がト
BDS
ッ
still
プ
wildly ahead
に
in
時間を
gold.
割いてる
Yeah,
間
a
に
little bit of
セ
a
ドが
greed
ボッ
there
ト
by
でプレートを
BDS to
食べてい
finish
る
off
と
that Rift Herald
これ
and
キル
try
取ったけ
and
ど
escape
BDSが
that way, but
かなり
BDS
ワー
was
ス
very
ですよ
happy to grab the Rift Herald, and Adam is just alone this
ヘ
entire
ラルド
time
を取っ
grabbing
て
two
敵のフラッシュ
turret
2
plates
つ
for
取っ
himself,
て
clearing these minion waves out
セジャ
up
ニ
to
が
a
1デスしただけでボットのプレートも割れてますから
And the rest
これ
of
は
the team just
BDS
being
側が
so
かなり
proactive on the map and doing such a
得
good
を
job
していきます
of flowing between plays where you find a pick in the jungle that goes bot lane, you escape from bot lane to go mid to then try and escort
Yeah.
this Rift Herald. Adam TP's down bot, he stays there.
Damn.
It's
そしてセジャニアリディアントバーツ完成魔を変えたのビエドさがすごいです
This flexibility, fantastic to see because again,
ここでセトが
yesterday while they
ト
were
ップに
ahead,
ま
it
た
was
戻
slow,
る
it
と
was controlled, but it certainly wasn't this imposing in the early game. And this version of BDS is a sight for sore eyes.
yeah, I'm very happy to see this for them. I also
エイ
while
トロ
Adam
ック
does
ス
a
が
lot
プッ
of
シュして
shenanigans,
ニ
it's
コー
really
ル
cool
かな
what you're saying, and it's I often like when
ニコール
Sheo is
しない
not
と
drawn too far
かなり
into
アイ
those
テムが
shenanigans
お
where it
金が
becomes a
溜ま
bit
って
of
る
a
んでしょう
black
か
hole in
ら
the top lane, and all you
ア
can
イテ
really
ム
do is
買わ
try
な
and
いとい
cover
け
out
ない
if it's not going well or make dives happen and you ignore the rest of the map.
ドラゴン
I
は
like
湧
that
きますけ
he's
ど
unlocked a
エイ
little
ト
bit
ロ
to make
ッ
his
ク
own
スだ
plays,
け
but I do think he does
TP が上がり
decently
そ
with
う
LeBron at certain points in time, and
セトは
has tricky
TP ないの
passing
で
and playmaking, and
トップ
here
の
he
プ
has
レー
been
トを食べ
kind
る
of
しかないで
unlocked
すね
while Adam is on largely weak side. There
ま
was
あで
that
も
one
エイトロック
dive
スも
they were
TP しないで
considering up
し
in
ょ
the
うこれ
top
は
side here.
トップ
For the
守ら
most
ない
part,
とい
it's
け
been
ないの
about
で
what he wants to do on the map based off what he's seeing, and has accrued also a CS advantage for himself in the jungle.
いやセトがかなりプレート食べてますこの試合
As CFO are trying to overload or
かなり育
respond
っ
to
て
a
る
play a little bit behind tempo. And this is kind of the cost when BDS are in a position to punish is that, you know, you can come contest this play, but you're late to the map or you don't have prio in your lanes. It means giving up something else somewhere else on the map. For CFO,
そしてボットを先に押した BDS が
shareholders concerned.
ドラゴンも取
Not
る
a
と
great time to be chief financial officer.
カイ
Solution?
サはヘイルブレードの、ゾンビガードを採用したアンプラルクレーム型ですね
Give more to
短
Shun.
い手はダスクブレード
That
に
is
行くんだと
what
思い
we'll
ま
have
す
to see if they can do in this game.
9
If
の
not
物理
in
ダメージ
draft,
なので
maybe be a little.
脅威と相性がいいとそしてアイテムの値段も安いので
I would say less greedy with your picks, but honestly,
序盤のパワーがあり
It's just about
ワードを壊すことでゴールドも稼げると。視界も取ることができる。いや、このタワーは、いや、BDS がかなり勝ってる。
First turret broken. He's just going to be able to start roaming around the map now and continue to farm up and become massive 20 CS advantage as well.
Trying to go for a bit of a play there on the bottom side. And Gemini so often shadowing these
あれ
plays,
ヘラルド
not
が
trying
行っ
to
ちゃう
make
よ
a counterpunch elsewhere on the map means that CFO are just perpetually responding. Perpetually playing catch up. Rest with a small level advantage on the top side of the map. No gore drinker yet. That'll help the matchup a
1
lot.
対1でエントロックス負けませんね
Adam is going to get pulled back here. Nice timing though on the haymaker as well as the
あ
pullback.
ー無理ですねちょっと
Yeah. Thus far, though, just
もう瀬戸の
surviving and
瀬
you
戸
know,
よ
with
り
the
もエ
turf
ントロッ
plates
ク
that
スの方
he's
が
gotten for
強い時
himself,
間帯ですよ
actually up around 700 gold. So even though the farm looks equal and there's an assist for rest, Adam is ahead of the matchup currently, looking quite good for himself. And I gotta say, one of the other strengths of Adam
まあでも
is his
カー
ability
ト
to
エンドを
find
たくさん
unique
食べ
angles
て
in
るの
team
で
fights, which is
先に
something
リ
that
コールして
becomes
ゴードリンカ
paramount on set. When you
瀬戸
find
が作り
unique
ま
ways
したね
to dunk teammates into each other or to pull them into the rest of your team, following up with big the clapbacks, pulling everyone in for stuns. That is one of the things that really defines that in the mid to late game as much as we're talking about the early game laning phase. And we'll have to see if he's able to do that.
No. Match card, lane economy snapshot. Very clearly in favor of BDS.
That's going on Crowny's mom's fridge. That's a good snapshot right there.
She's gonna like that snapshot.
Yeah,
that's good.
Print that one out.
Print that one out. That's a great report.
That's an A+.
Thank you, MasterCard. I think the good news if you're CFO right now is while this has been difficult,
トップのカバーを呼んでます
Q evolve, gonna be feeling good coming into the next fights. If you can find these isolated targets, if you can pick someone
ア
else.
ジールは初手仮面ですね
Jimin
仮面
in lane is doing well. Some of his gold leads
ダインジャングラーはレディアントバーチェル
first strike, but still finding a small advantage here. Once he gets 2 items, he's going to start to hit. Not like a truck quite yet, as there are a lot of beefy frontliners, but definitely going to start hitting hard.
いやこれ
It's a decent game
ロ
for
ー
him.
テー
Has
ションに
farmed
かなり
well, has
差がありま
largely
す
stayed mid on Jason and CS while
BDS
plays
の
kind
方
of
が非常
happening
にうまく
around him. And I think this is the question now for CFO. We've talked a lot about from the BDS
うまく動け
perspective.
てま
For
す
CFO, you're not terribly concerned about getting super outscaled. I mean, obviously a 3k gold deficit is a
ボット
problem.
レーンは
And the
ザ
pace
ヤ
of
に
play
最
is
初
not
に
the
1キル
problem.
入っちゃっ
It's
た
the
それ
lack
から
of
ずっと
options. I haven't really
苦しい
seen
思いしてま
what
す
their
ね
plan
ヘラル
is,
ド
how
も
they're
出
gonna
された
approach
し
this game. It's largely been, we tried this one bot dive, that got countered out. And since then we've done nothing. And I don't know what they
トッ
want
プ
to
の
do
セド
from
がエ
here.
ントロック
When
スに
is,
かなり
in
ゴ
their
ールド
opinion,
勝っ
the
てる
time
と
to
思いま
contest?
す
They
か
are
ら
now all on their first item. Both teams are, and so with Herald up in
試合
40
がちょく
seconds,
ちょ
is
く
this when you
詰
want
ま
to
り
go?
ま
Is
す
it
な
third
僕の
dragon? We're
ネッ
not
ト
quite
回
sure yet.
線に
We're gonna
問
have to
題
see
があ
what
る
they do.
可能性が
Yeah. CFO are getting
あります
dragged
よ
around the map by BDS right now. They're just ready to respond. They're just hoping that BDS overextend right now, and it's putting them in a tricky position. And I think their composition, while the scaling is solid and there will be opportunities to fight back, one of the struggles of the Maokai as opposed to Sejuani, while Maokai provides, in many cases, just way more utility, his ult is a terrible engage option when you're behind. It is so much better when people have to fight into you, when you can get objective set up first, when you have any kind of lead and you can pair it with any other kind of engage. But Gemini, already behind the plays in many situations, for now just trying to hold on to this blue buff.
山を買いのない字
BDS
強い
take
な
full control of the top side of the map, and why are they doing that, you might ask? Well, surprise, surprise, once again an objective has spawned.
ノー
and
リ
that
ス
is
クで
their
視
key
界を
to
確保
move
で
up.
きる
But once again, I think BDS is in a
ダ
slightly
メージは
superior
か
position.
なり
Adam
ナーフされ
already
てます
shutting
けれ
out
ども
bot side, already has the teleport available. So
それでも視
while
界を取れて
CFO is
スロー
technically
も
more
か
group,
けら
they're
れる
now just buying space, starting to set up for the rift.
クールダウンも
BDS is
短い
slowly conceding this, but making them work for it. This pulls Rest down to the bot side to catch that wave. Adam's already moving up. They're just doing such a good job of kind of moving around the map as a whole unit.
Classic turn-based League of Legends. You know, both sides fighting for mid-prio. Once their labs are pushed, moving into clear vision. The
いや
difference
この
is
ヘラルド
Adam
も
gets
ジ
bot
ブっ
push
ぽい
first,
です
and
ね
the
ジ
result
ブ
is
で
they'll
すね
move up first. If they want to contest this, it'll
確
cost
認
the
しに行
Aatrox
きませ
TP,
ん
but CFO aren't even going to risk that.
Nope.
They'll just concede second Herald, which means mid lane is very likely going to die soon, which is where the game starts to get hard. It's going to be hard to play the game slower once mid lane is down, once that space is opened up on the map.
CFO はかな
I
り
have an
苦しん
awful
でま
ton
すよ
I'm trying to workshop in my head right now
か
about
な
a
り苦し
concession
んでる
stand.
次ドラゴン巻くけ
Giving
ど
things away, but then I realized you pay for things at a concession
You
stand.
do. It's kind of weird. English is weird.
Yeah, I don't think it makes. I thought for a second my brain wasn't working. I'm like, I don't think this
ドラゴン
language
のタイミング
makes sense.
でミッドにヘラルド出すんじゃないでしょうか
English isn't terrible.
I'm like, they're recalling, they're going to the concession stand to give them, but then
They're
BDS isn't paying.
conceding a lot of things.
And
is the
BDS is
sentiment.
not paying.
Imagine he said something really clever that involved some play on the words.
So
It's
it's
massive
Herald
casting.
Dusty.
You at home fill in the blanks of the clever
相
thing
手が
I
ヘラル
said.
ド処理してる
Write your
間
own
に視界を
hype
取り
call.
に
I'll
行
just
く
be
と
silent during the next fight.
Find your favorite hype call and just play it over
Yeah.
the rest of this game.
BDS are adjectiving towards Dragon.
出す
They're
先に
setting
触
up
り
the
ます
noun.
I feel like we're also dating ourselves because like there's gonna be a some generation of people who have not ever experienced a Mad Lib and have no idea what we're talking about right now.
No.
いやこれスチールしにいけるのか。ちょっとスマイト早かったですけれども、無事ドラゴン獲得3ドラゴン目です。ファイトが起こりそうだけれども、フジャー今マオカイにウルトを打っていき、マオカイ捕まって指導。エイトロックスもアリスターもウルト中と、セドのウルトが入りそうですよこれ。ちゃんと警戒された位置に立ってますね、ジェイス・カイさん。カイさんがウルトで入っていき、アリスターも切りに成功。
But they just don't have enough in the tank. They lose their jungler before the fight even starts. They can only get one in return. Support traded for support.
ドラゴン取って1デス3キル、そしてミッドタワーも取れると。
It is a terrible trade deal.
BDS がずっと有利を広げていっております。
Nice play out of them after seeing the Maokai ultimate timeout. It was as the Baron was dropping, it was already too late to try and use the Maokai ultimate as a means to charge forward. That is one of the offensive use cases. It kind of buys you the space if you drop it and run forward. The Dragon's gone. Once that time's out, Shale finds his angle to land this ultimate. Here you'll see it down. Just
ちょっとここセジャンのスマイトが早くてヒヤッとしましたけれども、ドラゴンアップ時取れると。そしてマオカイを捕まえていくんですねこの後。セジャンの QR でマオカイにスタンを入れ、アリスターのノックアップから何もさせず倒したと。セドのウルトをちゃんと警戒してますね、ジェイスとカイサは。立ち位置が素晴らしいですよ。そしてカイサがウルトで入っていき、アリスターのキルだけ回収成功と。グロンと横取りしていき、マオカイのフラッシュがなくなりましたか。
Struggled to find reasons to praise BDS this game, but again, credit to them. The second Shun walked into mid lane, they pulled the trigger on the engage. The second the Kai'Sa walked away for even a moment, that was the time they chose to go forward, and that is the kind of stuff that can define team fights. Spotting that moment of weakness where the AD carry is trying to push out mid. Brav, though, could be in trouble here. Needs to hit one more to secure the pullback. He does! Q2, Q1, and Q3 all connecting LeBron. Making it out of the wall.
アリスタフラッシュでフラッシュとウルトで無事にでザヤのウルトもなくなりましたよ。ちょっと戦えないんじゃないのか。
Adam looking for the setup.
下がりますね。アジェルも TP していく。セジャーにもフラッシュを切らされる。これがエイトロックスのパワー。推進強すぎなんですよこの人。
So much work so correctly, but do not get any gold for it. Got a ton of summoners out. That's double teleport and multiple flashes burn, as well as the ultimate out of LeBron. So well played by CFO, but doesn't
TP に差ができました。BDS TP ありません。ザヤのウルトもないです。
To find a setup to then actually convert into gold. Really liked the attempt there. Rest in particular letting multiple big chains and Qs to set up the rest of the team, but just not able to lock it down long enough to kill.
心配なのが CFO は魔法ダメージがすごい少ないことですね。BDS はアジールというすごいダメージが出るチャンピオンが1体いますから。アジール一人でダメージ借りると思うんですけど、ジェイス、カイサ、エイトロックスだとさすがにそれで AT が出るとマオカイしかいないからちょっとバランスが偏ってますよ。アーマーアイテムを買われた時にフロントを溶かすのが大変だと思います。
It's a very, all-encompassing skill.
I just call it Marth techniques. F smash, tipper, down tilt.
Actually, I haven't appreciated enough how we've been calling it the tipper is actually...
It's strictly a Marth term in my head.
Yeah, it is strictly a Marth term, but it's also sick. Any smash
ザヤはドミニクリラードを目指してますね。
As long as it's not Minecraft Steve.
エイトロックスも青かい出る。硬いチャンピオン3体いますから。我々物理防御貫通を積んでいく。セジャリさんフラッシュないです。
Nothing gonna happen. It's a bunch of beefy bros.
体が強いチャンピオンがフェイスチェックしてワードを破壊していく。
Beefcakes hanging out in a river.
Yeah,
we've all been there.
It's a fight club. Yeah, for sure. Just ripped, just turbo jacked.
That's me, man.
That's me.
For sure. Did not spend 36
ジェイ
hours
スが
straight in the
TP しましたね。
bed.
ジェイス TP。この後ドラゴンファイトでしょう。マウンテンソロ渡せませんよ。脅威ビルド2人いますから。マウンテンソールが 行ってしまうとジェイスのポークも通らなくなってしまう。牛くんが削られてる、かなり。牛くんこれ一回下がろう。エテロックスのウルト終わるまで下がりましょう。アイスさんの体力とウルトとフラッシュ、やはりイグナイトはなくなったと。そしてマオカイのウルトもなくなり、ザヤのフラッシュ R もなくなった。レルが素晴らしいイメージをしてジェイスの9位でザヤを倒していく。シャットダウンがジェイスに入り、ちょっと試合わかんないですよ、これは。
I thought Xiaoxi lost his mind when he went in there. Shun had already ulted. I was wondering where the follow-up was coming, and it was from downtown. Jimmy and landing that snipe, finding that
で、エ
kill,
イトロックスが
stopping
敵
so
に
BDS. If there
凄
was
まじい
one
プレッ
fight
シャー
they
をか
needed
け
to
てお
win
り
this
ま
game
す。
so far, this was it, and when it mattered most, CFO has done it.
そして
And
レ
this
ルと
makes
い
a
うチャ
little
ンピオンの
string
エ
of
ンゲー
plays
ジ、
now where CFO has come out ahead. There was that fight where they forced
なかな
all
か
those
避けられ
summoners
ません
earlier.
よ。
This time around, getting in here, forcing out
こ
LeBron,
れマオカイのウルトとカイさんのウルトに対してザヤのウルト切らないといけなくて、マオカイのウルトに対してフラッシュと、そして何もなくなったザヤにレルが入っていてジェイスの注意で切ると。逆からうまくやったでしょう。この苦しい状況でドラゴン取れるだけの有利を築きましたよ、一時的に。マウンテンソーを取られると本当に苦しいですから。
Rest involved in both really has his number.
I think Rest is like low-key kind of winning them the
おっ
game with
と、温度差がちょっ
this
と。
Aatrox play.
I mean,
Just,
the Infernal
これ
Chains have been good.
勝利確率か。
Necessary to hit confirm that
牛
ability.
く
and
ん
yeah, it's
ノ
solid.
ールド。
So, again here, LeBron forced low, tries to go in, Rest interrupts.
いや、
the
入
headbutt
ってい
bolt
くのは
combo,
ちょっと
forces the
難
ult
し
out,
い。
and once again, BDS are having to back off these kind of grouped up situations where the poke composition's coming out way ahead.
And when we talk
ア
about
リ
this
スターがリコール
composition,
しないとい
we
けない
did
ので
expect
視
maybe
界
more
は
of it.
一時的に
The
敵に
Jace
取られます。
Kaisa poke is
BDS
there. It is real. We'll be a little bit strong once the Nashers come through, just so they
アジェルが
can be
TP です
there
ね。
available for the Kaisa. But CFO, if they can keep it slow, if they can play it slow, find these little picks, find these little opportunities, take BDS
え、
and
アリスターリ
help
コール
before a
し
fight
な
starts,
い。
they can certainly take a lot of these
ワー
exchanges.
ドを刺してい
BDS
く。
have not spotted
敵
this
の
yet.
バロンがバロンピット内に、敵のワードがバロンピット内に入っている。
Some nice poke again
いや、
from
やり
Jimmy
き
and
るの
Landon,
は
already putting Crowny at
難
half
しい。
health and just breaking this play up with a
難しい。
single
やめさせました。
shock blast. BDS forced back, like you said, trying to catch them on recall time.
これ
They don't hate
敵
the
が
idea, but the vision clear, not quite there. One more in the pit that was not
そうですね、
spotted
リ
out.
コー
And
ル
now
を
this
さ
once
せ
again
ないと
gives CFO the inside track.
逆に捕まえていくアジールノールとマオカイダブルフラッシュでアジールを捕まえに行き死亡。またジェイズにショットダウン入りましたよ。エイトロックスは強いですよ。フラッシュエイトロックスフラッシュを壁にこすりまた死亡。
BDS coming out on top, 2-for-1 trade. Jungle top, traded for the mid laner.
もうちょっと
They want to force on the Baron now.
死なないという想定で動いてたと思うんですけれども、ちょっと壁から剥がされてフラッシュが壁を越えられなかったですね。
Low health bars, but again, Crowny 2.5 items. Shreds this objective, just needs a bit more time. Sejuani's
And
consistently proccing that E. Jimmy and waiting
ジャ
over
ング
the
ルいない
wall.
からスマイトもないんだよな。
Crowny getting lower. Shun does a lot of
ジェイ
damage.
スの注意がザイに入っていき、セトがフラッシュダブルでダメージ当たるけど、カイサには足りず。ジェイスがダブルキルしてシャットダウンじゃないのか、ジェイスは。ジェイスのキルをザイが回収したと。BDS がバロンを取りました。ここエイトロックスがやりすぎたか、さすがに。今回はダブルフラッシュでアジールを捕まえて、エイトロックスいった。エイトロックス1対4だぞ。下がるんだ。下がれエイトロックス、下がるのだ。セトに壁から引き剥がされてフラッシュできなかった。アリスターのフラッシュキューブカイサに届かず。うめ。 CFO 苦しんでます。バロンを取った BDS がもちろん押し込んできますね、ミニオンを。CFO さん、ちょっとやってしまったか。 このバロンバフのミニオンを処理するのが大変ですよ。アジール相手に。アジール防止できてます。でもジェイスもスリーコは強いですよ。お、行くのか。さすがに。でもさっきと同じように、プレーラーが1人でプッシュして、それ以外の4人で持ちレをプッシュしていくと。これアリスターとアジールはバロンバフ持ってないですね。いいダメージが入りますよ。ジェイス3コア。エンドロオンの時間です。
BDS again can take their time a bit with this one, but they don't really have wave prio anywhere, so this isn't quite as commanding of a setup as they would like. This will just be a full-on 5v5.
ちょっと陣形悪いですよ。挟まれてはいます。両側からちょっと戦えない BDS この場所では。
But he just waited. He's holding these until he sees Crowny somewhere and can begin to poke him out. He knows DPS is not the goal here. It's
マーカイウルトは残ってる。エルがエンゲージ狙ってますよ。この狭い場所危ないです。立ち位置が。エルのエンゲージに作れたら分かりません。先にエルに仕掛けに行ったのがアリスター。セトがダブルでビッグダメージを回線に入れますけれども、押し切ることはできずと。お、マオカイがザルを捕まえてザラ死亡。あいや、まあ最強チャンピオンマオカイ死にません。あれでもなんとかマウンテンソーダを取りました。 BDS ちょっと1-4トレードになってしまったんですけど、ソウルだけは取ったと。
And now grab a ton of objective bounties that have spawned and slingshot themselves actually ahead in gold.
そしてミッドとボットガーストタワー破壊。これは大きい。
Gonna take another look at it as you see.
これ仕掛けられる前に先にエルに入って1位。セトが W でかなりダメージをタンクしましたよ。ザヤが何にウルト切ったんだ。ちょっとよくわからなかったですけれども、マオカイに捕まって死亡。アジール強かったですけども、マオカイ死なず。1-4トレード1です。1キル4ですでマウンテンソウル獲得した BDS ですね。ジェイスのポークに対してかなり強くなりました。コースタナの2で届いてなかったけど、ザヤがウルトを使いましたね。それを見た瞬間マオカイがすかさずダブルで入っていきましたよ。
Similar ups and downs to us casting this series, I think it's safe to say. Is it entirely BDS winning the game? Is it CFO coming back? At this point in the game, I'm not entirely sure. I think it's all execution.
アジールさん3手目にシャドウフレームですか。なんかこういうビルドが結構重いですね。スリープでブライネさん、こんにちは。BDS 対 CFO 見てますよ。
hard to say exactly how this is going to go. I think CFO has done largely pretty good in the team fights recently, which makes me a little scared for BDS. The scaling is so good for BDS, and now with the shield, I think as long as they are able to find clean engages.
なんか3手目とか4手目にシャドウフレームを買う人が多いですね。2手目に買うのが一番強いと思うんですけれども。
CFO are able to get priority, their poke is going to make sieging so easy. You just have to be careful about risking anything around the Baron. Using this opportunity to send Crowny top, presumably to maybe just get a bit more gold, or maybe he's just trying to spot the flank.
I think it was maybe grabbing the
red buff
as well that just...
着率 あり
Either
が
way,
とうござい
they're
ま
leaving
す。
Adam in the top side to mostly do the pushing,
感謝し
grouping
ます。
as 4 mid, and I feel like we're gonna have
Flash.
a lot of poke battles going on here. Adam with a flank. CFO have to be careful.
Walking into this pinch is always a bit of a difficult
着ビッツ
proposition.
をいただいたので似ていき
Now
ま
gonna
す
be
よ。
forced to escape.
非
Gemini
常に
using
が
the
ウ
ult
ト
to
を使い、エイ
disengage.
トロックスが
CFO, will they take this opportunity
ウ
to
トを
go
返して
back
いく
in?
と。
Good play
いや、
by
マウンテン
BDS.
ストールがある
Seeing
の
a
で、
potential
チェイスの
weakness,
注意
stepping
のダ
forward,
メー
getting
ジが
some
全
cooldowns
然
out of
通りません
CFO.
よ。
Not overcommitting to the play, not stepping too far into that
こん
choke
ばんはで
point.
す。まいり
I
ま
think
した
you're seeing the
どうも
power of the mountain soul starting to show up here. Sheo is taking shock
BDS
blast
対
after shock blast, and just
CFO
now
BDS がマウンテンソールを獲得し、ジェイスのポークから
CFO to
身を
find
守
these
っておりま
squishier
す。
members is becoming more and more important.
I think it is
で
important
も
to note,
ア
though,
ジ
you
ール相手
highlighted
に
it
この
earlier,
程度
Jace
の
and
ダメージですから、
Paisapo, if ever left alone. We get
今
used to
回
looking
の
at
ダ
Jace
メ、
as a
内で
post-champion
2つの
pro
方
player.
が
I think
ダメー
that's
ジ出て
certainly
る
the
か。
easiest version of him. But if he finds a flank or an isolated carry,
アジールベルのでバロンはとんでもなく速いです。
or crowning pretty effortlessly. That said, BDS just one tap to
ちょっと
Baron.
映像は止まってます
The
けれ
CFO
ども、
were not in a position to respond.
どっち
Is this their time? Will
BDS
they
がバ
step
ロン獲
forward
得
now?
と
BDS just need to
逃
back
がしたくない
away, and this is what's tricky for CFO.
帰ら
So
せた
often
く
it
な
just
い
feels like
な
it's
んと
been
して
too
も
little too late when it comes to these engages. The poke continuing to land. But the shot
カイス
blast
の
doesn't
ダブルで
connect,
視
and
界を取り続け
play
てい
is
く。
already fizzled. Shio stepping forward just to make sure they body block, and now BDS want to turn, knowing that the entire
エ
team
トロッ
is
クスあな
split.
たウルトないです。
Massive
もう
healing
ウルト
comes
上が
from
る
the
の。
Aatrox, but it's just not enough.
いや、早いけど、全部のスキルを食らって、エトロックス即死ですね。
BDS turns that one around, finds the free kill on Rest, who is stepping too far
ス
forward.
テラックとコアドリンターで頑張って耐えたいですけれども、1対5の状況では何もできずと。
First off, like you said, in terms of getting the Baron basically for free after trading a number of ults, and then here, the rest of the team you can see had already given up on the play. Jimmy lands a ton of damage onto Crowny, but no one else is really around. If you had the ability to maybe jump on top of him, start trading out here, but the rest of the play had given up, or the rest of the team had given up on the play. Excuse me.
Yeah, and there's two things happening here in these fights that's cool to observe and also frustrating. I think if you're a CFO fan, one is, you know,
そし
CFO
てアジールのシャドウフレームが完成しました。3点目シャドウフレーム。
But also BDS, credit to them after their
相
loss.
手が魔法防御を積んでいませんから、レディーが。
They just back off. If there's not a reason for them to fight or they don't have an
個人
excellent
的には
angle, they just
BDS
walk
を応援
away.
してま
And
す。
CFO, once that Maokai ult's gone, Chelsea just has to give his life to force a play, and that's not a risk CFO are willing to take.
アダムさんファンボなので、アダムさんのソロ級の映像は、いくつも見たことがあります。
They are being punished a little bit for their lack of activity in the earlier portions of the game.
Shio now stepping in.
わあ、レレにエンゲージさせる前にキャッチして倒しきるんですね。
Be careful about the thorns. He's going to get locked up. CFO now the ones to retreat, the ones to pull back, continuing to try to leverage their poke
実
here.
質世界に
Rest stepping forward onto
ちょっと
Adam.
2FM ゼロ勝かもしれない。あ、
Just executing him
ちょっ
there.
と。
Solid advantage
セットが捕まって何もできずやられてしまいました。
Elder is up and available. BDS, do they feel confident enough to
サ
take it?
ポートとトップレーナーの11トレードと
won't connect. That's big. Cooldown very long at this stage.
No Adam for 40 seconds. Doesn't have TP on res either.
エディタードラゴン開始です。
BDS want to force this one down. A little risky, but they're going for it.
セットがいないぞ。アリスターのフラッシュ W を決めて気を足を出していくが無事 BDS がエルダー取れました。マオカイは一気戦になりましたね。しょうがないです。
And on the flip side, BDS committing to the aggressive mentality now here in losers bracket. Lebrov giving up his life there. Getting the three-man pulverize to buy space for Shale to get that free smite. Gemini did get over the wall, but could not actually get it here. Like you were saying about Shousey being the first one in, here's the danger of it.
ここでレルのエンゲージ、レルにエンゲージをされる前に逆にキャッチしようと。いうことでセトが W を使いましたね。これ見てる場所が。はい、じゃあ W を持ってなかったですからセットをやられてしまいました。アリスターのフラッシュ W でマオカイがフラッシュでドラゴンピットに入るのが一瞬遅れましたね。完璧なタイミングで敵のスティールを阻止していくサポートの鏡。
Hitting him with the question mark. He's got Warmogs now. Their damage does not matter. Their poke does not matter. And this is the nightmare of every poke composition: is a beefy tank with Warmogs who just gets to laugh in your face and emote.
でも DFM はまた来年頑張ってもらいましょう。いや、チェイスの更新の9位でザのダメ。ザの体力1割も削れないぞ。
Till Elder falls away, that might be a window of opportunity to force the fight, but Gemini ulting with no backup whatsoever, just maybe hoping to delay the push a bit longer.
エルダーのプレッシャーで押し込まれていく。ウェーブクリアだけしたい。ウェーブだけ消せばまだゲームは長引く。ベルが最後のエンゲージに行った。チェイスがビッグダメージアジールに対して出してるぞ。お、エルダー相手に勝つのか、まさか。エルダードラゴンは最強って聞いたんですけど、これボットレーンのウェーブでは、いや、これカイサがいないけど、チェイス一人で終わらせられるか。
I don't know if they do. They have 30 seconds. Jimmy melts turrets with the empowered W.
ダイヤモンドに行けばプロになれる。嘘かもしれない。さすがに。
10 seconds on LeBron, who will absolutely have to run
ダイヤじゃなれないかも。
this from being any worse. We'll see if they back off after the inhibitor. There's no way they can do this.
終わらせられないですね。アリスターが復活します。
Crowning mispositioned for a second. Watch this frickin' Kaisa damage.
何があった？レルの素晴らしい3人に対するエンゲージ、アジール反応したけど、反応しても関係ないな、レル。防ぐの無理だ。いや、調子に乗ってダンスしてたセジャーに死亡。いや、どこからでも負けられるのがリーグオブレジェンズなんですよ。全然わかんないぞ。まあ、BDS がまだ圧倒的に有利だとは思うんですけれども、スチールの可能性を作ってはいけない。ナイス。ファイト開始。ちょっとフォーカスばらけてますけれども、牛くん、フラッシュはある。ナイス。これはですね、スーパーミニオンバロンバフで JG なんじゃないでしょうか。僕はそう思うんですけれども、いや、これタワーの凄まじい勢いで削れていく。タワーだ。ギリギリ守ったけど、オートアタック数発で壊れちゃうよ。
Go down bot lane now with these super creeps and the Baron buff on, sit on this, get the third inhibitor, and then force CFO to once again try and find a miracle play on the back.
アダム大人気ですか、韓国で。この人うまいですからね。
BDS are heavily favored. In theory, all you need to do is break open that inhibitor.
Oh, they've won the game, Dracos. Don't worry. I'm not caster cursing them. This is all but the singing is done.
Yeah, I know. The chonky lady sings. We'll get there. But,
スーパーミニオンとバロンバフ、リットとトップからスーパーミニオンが来るのを待っているだけでいい。あ、メインキャラがセト、ガレン、カリウス、オラフ、ボッツですね、ボッツ。ガレン、オラフ、カリウス、セト。確かに面白いキャラクター使えますよ。勝率 3% きた。これもミニオン眺めてるだけで終わりなんですけど、ウェーブ処理不可能だ、こんなの。
BDS walking forward. Need to keep it together. If they stay disciplined, this should just be their win.
もうエンゲージするしかない。戦わないと試合に負ける。セト W が外れましたけれども、どんどん削られていく。あいやー、マウンテンソウル硬すぎ。あいよー。GG。
CFO made them work for it, but BDS was able to close this one out.
CFO もよく耐えましたよ。あんなに不利な状況からドラゴンソウルを遅らせて、エルダー相手にも集団戦勝って、よくやったと思うんですけど、 まあちょっと終始 BDS 側が有利を広げていきましたが、この試合。そしてザヤを自分たちからバーンしましたね。これCFO はカイサー取らずにセジュアにマオカイも空いてますけれども、
And okay, regardless of commanding or not, this is something that CFO need to address because
セジュアニを取りました。
pivot specifically to the Sejuani here.
カイサがカンって取りました。
Champion's been out for too long. People understand how this thing works. They just back up, and we have no other follow-up engage past a rel. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Xiaoxi again on some proactive engage champion, as pretty standard in this meta. I wouldn't mind seeing another champion, but I just don't know how likely it is. Paired with Sejuani, it's going to be a lot easier to force fights. That said, doesn't mean conceding kind of the safest blind pick top laner at the moment, which is the Renekton.
そしてマオカイちょっとバンピックカーに変わってきましたよ。ラカもカイサもレルもピックされず。
Does so much pretty reliably and is almost always useful to some degree.
Yeah, it's like a B tier pick in almost every entire situation.
カサンテをレネクトンに後出ししていくのはこの大会でも何回か見られてますね。全部カサンテ勝ってますか。カサンテ対レネクトンはエイトロックスにするんですか。しましたね。
And especially with the current itemization and meta, the Renekton is a very
序盤はレネクトンの方が強いですから、エイトロックスはレベル2がすごい強いですから、ちょっとそこまで頑張って耐えたい。そしてミッドレーンの AD チャンピオンジェイスではなくカイサ取りますね。これ ADC エズギアルとかになるのかな。エズギアルとか他の
Yeah, it was just again the issue of
アンフェリオスは1回出たかな。ゲイルフォース買って頑張ろうとしましたけれども、東方チャンピオンなので押しつぶされてました。アジール ADC 取らず、トップジャングルミッドを取った BDS、 そしてトップジャングル ADC を取った CFO ですね。サポートとミッドにバーン咲くのか。空いてるのはその2体。
Nothing really crazy coming through here yet for either side, to be honest.
And Nuke honestly saved that game.
Nico
Talk about the opportunity for CFO to have won that. It was off Crowny, kind of disrespecting. He died with, basically flash ult up. And it was Nuke's heroics on this champion that saved that game, as well as bought them the third inhibitor. He was doing a lot of work on this champion, so no surprise to see him go back to it for a second time.
Yeah, and I think that game was a lot of BDS.
エズギャルバーンされました。 ADC 出すチャンピオンいないんですけど。
Individual members, but Nuke a man worth highlighting in that regard. See what the focus is for the bottom side. Ezreal banned away.
ザヤカイサがいなくなった時にしょうがなくエズギャルが出てたんですけども、それもバンされたと。
is a similar problem to what we saw with Jace, which is just when there are beefy frontliners who just eat Qs all day. What does Ezreal do compared to the power of a champion?
ブリンク持ちチャンピオンもいないですよ。ヨネが。アジールがヨネを対面。 しづらいと。
Kai's supposed to be the Ezreal counter, you know what I mean? And so it's just like it's an interesting thing.
ヨネというチャンピオンは大きいです。スキルセット強すぎ。
She just jumps on top of Ezreal and Ezreal can never do anything.
In NA, we were even seeing Ezreal taking
シビアは何出すんだ ADC カリスタ。
But I think it seems to be at least
そうですね、カリスタ今大会も1回だけ出てたかな。
We saw one Kalista already. It did not look great necessarily. There was one where it was played well, where they were able to use the Faith Call to save an aggressive support multiple times. I think we've maybe seen 2 Kalistas. But it is a high-risk, high-reward champion, and you are a lot more early-game oriented now on the side of BDS than they were in the previous game, where you're having what will hopefully be a winning bot lane and an aggressive top side as well.
And I gotta say, I'm an OEC
サイラス。
obviously, I
マ
know
オカイのウル
BDS
ト
very
が
well, but I am
とても強いです。
really loving what CFO are putting together right now because this team fights.
去年の WCS かな。
All of this team
マオ
fights.
カ
It's
イ
Kai'Sa who just
が
gets
出
to
てき
dance
たら
around on the outside.
敵のミッドレーナーはサイラス取ってました。
Very,
そしてマオカイ対サイラスの
very clear
勝
identity.
率
On
が
the outside
サイ
of
ラ
BDS,
ス
we
側
have
が
kind
と
of
んでもなく
this
勝ってい
handover
た
from Kalista early game
記
scaling
憶があり
into
ます。
Azir late game, which can be very powerful.
サイラスここで出てきましたね、アジール相手に。そしてサポートはアリスターとレルが空いてますよ。
They said we didn't fight enough. Now everyone goes in. We do one thing, jump in now. I like the Alistar takeaway from the perspective of, hey,
これサイラスのウルトのことも考えないとか。
more annoying compositions where you have a flying cow hit you in the head, bump you up in the air twice in a row, turn invulnerable basically, or save him from situations.
ちょっとウルト強いけど、タリックと違ってサイラスがタリックのウルトを使っても自分の周りにしか無敵になりませんから。
Silas has a lot of nice ults to steal here.
Silas has a lot of great, I mean, yeah, and also builds AP, so Maokai ult actually gonna hurt.
サイラス取ったからアリスターを渡すわけにはいかないということでキックしたと。
If you've ever played against any of these champions, you understand what they do. They jump at you, and usually if they're ahead of you, they kill you, and if not, you can maybe outplay them and kill them. But the burden of execution feels oftentimes on the person being dove. Kalista Taric, that's out of left field for me. BDS fans, I think should be sweating because the track record here to prove that these guys are going to execute well on this lane does not exist this year.
Summer split, no games on Kalista or Taric. This is a composition that you do see.
まあ一番強いサイラスのウルトはマオカイでしょう。
Pick up the Taric so that his ultimate is guaranteed to go off. It's one of the problems that you have with Taric sometimes is the timing of it, and maybe Taric gets exploded because you're doing it on reaction on getting jumped on. And the Kalista can basically guarantee, assuming the Kalista's not the one dying, that the Taric ultimate goes off. Plus, sometimes it's even honestly better to throw the Taric where the team is.
レルのウルトもちょっとサイラスに渡したくないか。あれ確か AT 賞結構ありましたから。
If you throw it aggressively so that your E always lands from the knockup from the Fate's Call, there are really cool synergies, but they can be difficult to pull off.
Yeah, last time we saw this was LEC Summer 2020, 3 years ago, production.
今度はこちらダメージバランスいいですね。カリスタ、レネクトン、そしてマオカイアジェルで 2AD、2AD と。
The 50+ people working on it suddenly like me less.
That's so crazy that your mic keeps cutting out and you keep saying weird things on broadcast. That's crazy that they're just going to air all that stuff you said off air.
The Bulge
Gate disapproved.
Everyone disliked that. Shout out to the production team. And here we are.
CFO 対 BDS の2試合目ですね。
A bold bet coming in from BDS, showing us something new. Slaying and reviving target.
So it's interesting. I think the
始まりました。サイラスはファーストストライク、マオカイは当然フェイズラッシュ。セジャーネはアフターショックですね。
from the Maokai, peel from the Azir. There's a lot of things that can deal with CFO's composition if you're really on
トレはお互いにクレンズと。アリスターは今度はフェイズラッシュ。ソニックだ。グレイシャル。フェイズラッシュアリスターはコンボの後に足が速くなってそれで E のスタンを確実に入れられるという強みがあって去年だか一昨年だかに出てきました。アリスターだ中フラッシュを敵3人に決めていきカイサに1キルでかすぎ。ずんだもちさん、こんにちはです。今、カリスタのフラッシュとクレンズがなくなり、カイサに1キル入ったというとんでもない状況になりました。これ、今の当たってたら、ちょっとアジールまずかったですけど、うまくステップで受けていく。これ、カリスタっていうチャンピオンがボットライン勝たないといけないので、それでフラッシュクレンズなくなり、さらにカイサに1キル。辛すぎる。
Dream start to this game.
Be in level 2 coming through, and again, this lane like mini Azir lanes. Too bad if he can clear and get access to the wave. For now, the answer
いやこのサイラスというチャンピオン強いんですよ。明治で相手したくない。本当にうまくやらないといけないサイラスの対面は。
I don't know what this lane does when it's behind.
It has no
ガンカースも強いから。
for Kalista.
押し込むのも結構怖いです。もうガンカー合わせできないぐらい。
Nothing. You
サイ
save
ラスの
other
体
people.
力を削るしかない。
That's not good.
No. You can, to be fair, get some levels.
これ
Maybe
イン
you're
ベ
okay.
ードしに行ったのか。
Love the aggressiveness out of Chelsea.
うわー、イスター。3人にノックアップを決め。
Follow up chains. Getting it stacked up enough, forcing the cleanse out. The ignite is such a good chase down. And the fact that somehow Shun, with everyone else stacked on top, is able to pick up that kill is huge.
It's massive, and it's already representing the philosophy we wanted to see more
当
from
然
CFO,
押し込まれますね。
which is just go in.
レーンに到達したタイミングも遅いですから、カリスさんもご
Yeah,
つも
and I
主
think
導
it's one
権
of those things where level 1 Alistar
取れない
obviously
ぞ、自力じゃ。
if you
ジャングルの助けが
one-shot
必要。
someone, he's a great level 1 champion. You flash, you
ワ
pull,
ニさん、
and
ロー
then
ム
your
してま
job is
す。
done. If you extend to level 1, he sucks. That's his entire contribution done. So the fact that everyone immediately follows up, zero
サイラス
hesitation,
リコールするし
getting
か
the
ないで
damage
すね。
down,
ちょっと
finding that
リス
kill,
クが
donating
高すぎ
for
る。
the person. This is a swimming start for CFO. You can already see almost 1,000 gold in their favor. It doesn't mean a lot because it hasn't been spent yet, and that's something important to keep track of here. This is a potential window of opportunity for LeBron and Crowny to get something
いや、
done.
フラッシュないぞ、
Who is
カリ
here
ス
to
タ。
cover none other than Gemini.
カニクはフラッシュありま
Sidestep
す。これ
pretty
デスはし
cleanly.
ないですね。
LeBron now going to be in trouble, forced to flash out to safety, and the amount of summer
でも
spells
ヘ
in
ッ
bot
クス
lane
フラッ
is
シュ
getting
からの
lower and lower. The lonely ignite from LeBron, the last one
アリ
left.
サの仕
I
掛
was
けで
worried about
タリッ
the
クもフラッシュな
Hex
くなったと。
Flash headbutt pulve combo onto Crowny, but was able to stay out of range. So instead, they're just getting the flash out of LeBron instead of a follow-up kill, which is a
で、
small
サイラス
but
はドラン
important
シ
win
ー
for
ドに
BDS in that situation
ド
there. But
ランリング
CFO
と詰め
continued to
替え
have
ポーショ
pressure
ン
in the
と
bot lane, and
ドランアイテムを
you
た
know
く
you
さん
can
投入
still
していく。
bully maybe after first recall.
ちょっとレネクトンダメージトレードは
You can maybe still bully off reset if you know Shin doesn't have
よ
a massive item
よくない
advantage,
で
but
すよ。
you've already wasted a lot of the early potential where you're
だ
ideally
んだんとレ
harassing
ネ
from
クトン
level
は
1,
相手
stacking
の
waves,
クスに
making
勝
plays
てなく
happen
なってき
repeatedly
ま
on
す
the
か
bot
ら
side. So perhaps a 3v3 maybe.
序盤で有利を取らないといけない。
Geo's already been warded, stun connecting on the
フラッシュありません、ボットレーン。
Suddenly there's a bit of
魔を
chip
返し
damage
かフラッ
down.
シュない。
Gemini very powerful. Level advantage.
ちょっとミニオンウェーブも多いし、このレベル帯でこのミニオン相手に戦いに行くのは
They're trying to get this wave in so you can get the reset. Jimmy, and though on the far wrapper,
Saia,
he can maybe
flash
get that
blank
brush
かこれ。
unseen,
I think
or
he
just
just flashed over
flash.
the wall.
That's very aggressive.
いや、無理ですね、
Waiting
無
for
理
the
です。
setup. Wards pinged out.
相手もちゃんと下が
They
ってま
spot
す。
him going into the jungle.
I think they might have known he's not in mid
い
lane
や
at least.
ー、2人ともフラッシュなくなったボットレーンもマオカイが
Wave
ウェーブプッシュできるように守ってますよ。
Knew that this side of the map was overloaded, and they're still doing their best to get this wave in. And on the flip side for CFO, they're able to get resets off during this time. Gemini has already gotten that first back, grabbed his first item, and it's taking more of Shao's time to make sure this wave actually can
ト
get
ップ
in.
はレネクトンが
And
先
it's
に
still
リコール
taking
して
a lot
テ
of
レポ
work,
ートで
and
戻
now
ってきま
Gemini
し
is
た
once
ね。
again showing up in bot lane.
いや、これウェーブ止められますね。止められて CS は失うんですけども、その代わりにリコールは早くできますか。カネスタータリックが。
Good ward placement. Good diligence from BDS to respect the
結
potential play
構
there.
ボットレーン CS すでに負けてるんですけど、さらに失うことになるでしょう。ボットプッシュしましたか。プッシュしてカリスタがリコールやめて CS 食べますね。
And after that initial explosive moment, the game has been relatively quiet. That said, while Sejuani is getting camps and shadowing her lanes, Shio has just been shadowing the lanes, has not gotten
そ
any
してカイ
camps
サは
whatsoever.
1キルしていた分のお金も持っていたので、かなり装備更新してきました。ヌーンクイーナーからのダダー、詰め替えポーションコントロールワード。
He was, as the analyst was highlighting in the pre-show, one of the best performing members, if not the best performing AD carry
い
currently
や、
in
魔を変えるフラッシュがないボットを
This is exactly the guy
守
you
るため
want
に
with the gold in your
す
pocket.
ごい時間を
As
使い
well
ま
as
し
the
たから
fact,
セ
BDS
ジャンとの
does have
CS
tools
差
to
が
deal with CFOs, but it's not
ちょっ
like
と
you
つ
have
い
a
てます
scaling
ね。
advantage. There's no benefit from falling behind and surviving until mid to late game. Kalista will, of course, start to drop off. Generally speaking, Aatrox will outperform Renekton in the mid to late game, and we saw Rest had a very good performance, honestly, on that Aatrox. So BDS will need to find some ways to make some things happen, I think, to make sure this game doesn't just kind of
トッ
stall out
プ
with
レ
a
イン
1 to 2K
トックスが
advantage that
すごく
slowly
う
grows for
まくやって
CFO.
ますか。
Certainly, and I think if something's going to be the exception to that rule, it will be
Oh,
the Azir
カリス
pulling
タ
it,
の
which is a lot of pressure to put on an
W で
individual player, but Nuke is a guy who,
プロをやって
while
る
he's
のは分
not
かりま
always
した
the
けれど
center
も、
of the
や
show,
る
we
こ
saw
とは
him
で
last
き
game
ま
on
せんね。
Azir. He did make his presence known. He kind of saved the game for BDS because of that hiccup in the mid lane, that big mistake. And has had a couple games, at least in the LEC, one on Jace,
で
a
もこれ
couple
サ
on
イラスが
Cassio,
結
where he's
構
really
CS
popped
取れ
off,
て
where
ますよ。
he's almost single-handedly carried those games. Maybe he can look to replicate that here.
魔を変えのウルト
But
取
now
り
they're
ま
just
した。
stolen
強い
Maokai
です
ultimate in the hands of Silas.
Yeah, they heard that dragon go down. I think Shao was worried about a potential bot dive follow-up, so he has to cross-map through mid lane, through vision, making sure that they can actually contest some of these jungle camps.
Rob landing the stun. Shao in the area.
何も食わずと。いやー、ボットレーンのカリスタがかなり重たいですよ、この試合。究極のグルメ
See if he
店。
hands it over to Nuke, because like you said, it does feel like a lot of the eggs
究
are in the
極の
Nuke
グルメ
basket at this
店。
point in time.
ちょっとお腹空いてきました、
Quietly has done a
僕
good
も。
job getting a CS lead for himself. Renekton does
もう
quite
夜
well
の7
in
時
the
なんで
early
す。
phases.
これソロキルあるぞ。
This is where it gets a little bit tricky though. Rest is currently an item advantage, but Adam making good use of the Fury, trying to backstep, but does get hit by Not the sweet spot in the Q2. Did look like he got hit by it, but didn't get knocked up.
ないです。お互いにウルトを使って
but at the end of the day,
戦闘終了
really
と。
happy for both of them to just keep farming up, and Adam has kind of
うまい。
been on what you would call somewhat the strong side in the early levels as he
うわー。
Force flash away. There's a Q3
ワニさん。
and Rest certainly could have flash
いや、
chased.
これはさすがにやれないんじゃないか。
Rest. Little ball.
Oh, okay.
Hits the Q3.
Ayo.
Oh, that's it.
ブリンクありませんでしたレネクトン殿。
Q2 or Q2 once they're already chained.
Eh,
You
Vani.
Q3.
終わり
Rest landing the skills, missed the Q1, but still had enough damage to make it happen. Finds the solo bolo. We
序
were
盤
trying
最
to
強
hype
チャン
up
プ
Adam a
ワ
little
ニ
bit as maybe
序盤
being
で
a
敗
strong
北
side of the map. Immediate cast your curse into a 2-0 lead for CFO.
Yeah.
ワニ罠
Just
の
like
可
it's
能
all
性あり
Mark
ます
Beasley producing a show, it's also all
あ
his
序盤
fault. It's
最強
Crowny
チャンプ
not
の
trying to
カ
make
リ
it
スタ
out to
も
safety, throwing his
負
support
ける
back into the mix, running for his
全部
life.
外れた
The ulti going wide, but he's slowed. Just barely able
い
to
やこれ
escape
生
from
き残
Brav.
ったか
They do make it out. CFO burns so many resources, but BDS walk away with their
マオカイさん
lives, burning
ありがと
everything
う
in return.
That is a highway robbery to get out of there.
ちょっとやりすぎ
Crowny living
なのでは
somehow is now Gemini maybe a little bit
相
too
手の
far
ボットレイい
forward.
ますよ
Q back. Spear over the wall. Crowny going in for the kill. This is madness. Chelsea coming in too. Crowny not quite able to finish the job. Ignite not taking down the Brav. Held that one for so
Kalista,
damn
Shido.
long. They need to take out Chelsea, but the ult coming in just in time. The stun connecting. Nuke going for the pushback. Getting on the
Cyrus,
backside.
Ultima.
Nuke knows he
Oh,
can only
shit.
go forward, flashing out to safety. It's pretty damn clean. Shun out of mana. Ulti coming in. Just a bit of poke. No further committal from
カリスタ
BDS.
さんキルが欲しかったんですけれども取れず
Taking what should have been a free kill onto Crowny
悲
and
しいです
turning that into a 2-for-1 for BDS. What I thought was already a robbery is even more now that they could somehow come out net positive in that play.
ちょっとちょくちょく止まりますね
Solo
今度
kill.
は
And I gotta say, this
回線周りの設計を
The second E
変
forward
更しま
was
しょ
an
う
was
interesting
bold. Was
choice.
bold. Okay, but this is the
キン
thing
グ
that
が
I
高
love
いです
from
よ
Rest. Absolute confidence here.
そうかブリンク
To
使
go
ったか
for
ここ
that.
で
Did you whiff the infernal chains?
エイトロックス最強チャンピオンですな
He
これ
was
は
close. Q went right wide. Here's this
これ
play
は
though
プ
where
ロ
they
でもピッ
immediately
ク
get
さ
on
れま
top
す
of
よ
him. This looks fantastic. The flash out. This though, the interrupt by LeBron jumping in the way.
ここよく生き残ったと思ったんですけれども
to try and land the W afterwards. Gemini also misses ultimate. And then there's nothing left. They're able to skate out. And because Nuke has pressure on the mid lane, when Gemini starts trying to move up to the river to contest that Scuttle Crab, it looked like
ここ
the
セ
rest
ジャ
of the
ニ
team
だ
can pop over the wall, find this kill. I like the decision to go in there by Gemini and just finish
セジ
Crowny
ャニと
off
ア
and
リス
try
タ
and
の
keep
CC で
skirmishing,
カ
but
リスタ
man,
But it's also such a close fight. Xiaoxi's hits level 6 because Crowny dies.
青カイフラッシュこれアージールもフラッシュしましたね
Yeah, same with Shield
カリックもフラッシュ使いました
as well, then being able to send that over to
相
protect
手
the rest of
4
the
人
team.
フラッシュないです
They
よ
got a lot of flashes
いや
out
レネク
too.
トンもフラッシュ
Shun
ない
burned a flash earlier. Jimmy
全員
burned
の
his
フラッ
flash
シュ
trying to get on top of Nuke, who was able to flash out safely. There's basically no flashes
い
in
や
the
お互
game
いに
after
全
that.
員フラッシュない
Already burned it into fast, so Adam just gonna be forced back. Lane does not get
辛
easier.
辣なコメントが出ました
Nuke does not. He did hold on to his ultimate there, while Rest burned his, so should be relatively safe unless Gemini can land a nice CC combo here, but there's enough vision from BDS on this side of the map to not be surprised if anything coming in, and you have
いやーレ
KO
ネ
now
クトン
hovering
苦
as
しい
a
で
result.
すよも
Aatrox still
う
a
もう
champion.
勝て
You
ない
need, a couple Qs to connect to kill you too. It's not he
Aatrox
doesn't one shot you.
ね
It's not a blink of an eye that you disappear. You're gonna have a lot of time. Again, short of that CC combo to pop your ult to try to dash to safety. Crowny on the bottom side, getting closer to what I assume will be an early blade of the rune.
そしてカリスタ021
especially with a lot of beefy
カイサクラーテン完成してんのに
behind
カリスタ
pretty
コアアイテ
dramatically.
ムまでまだまだ
Tarkov
お金
is
足り
giving
ま
you a
せんよ
decent amount of armor, so I think that's probably why we're seeing Shun
カリスタっていう
go
チャンピオンが
for
バーサーカーブーツを買わないといけないチャンピオンですからコアアイテムの完成がただでさえ遅れるのに
Not see him going that way with the dive focus of the entire composition.
わあ
You think
最
that
強チャンピオンの
instantly
エイトロッ
blows
クス
somebody
の
up,
この
most
回復
likely
力ですよ
Nuke if you can get on top of him.
ダメージトレード成
Try and
立
fight from there, and, the enemy
成
team
立
does
し
have
ない
a
ん
lot
で
of
すけど
beefcakes, but at the same time, you're probably not going to stack too much armor on a Renekton, and the Maokai is a low econ jungler. You know, you're not able to get quite as many armor stacking.
レ
And
ネクトンがフューリーを貯めるためにミニオンを触らないといけないから負けてる時のレネクトン
CFO is in
修理ために行くのもリスクあるな
But they have not been able to convert much of that since the very nice opening and the solo kill. The gold lead has largely stayed the same.
コアドリンカー完成しました
They
エイ
did
トロ
pick
ック
up
ス
one
は
dragon, but they have not blown open the bot side. But again, they don't really need to from our
Wani-san.
expectations of how these comps are going to interact.
Yeah. Rest just walking menacingly
Wani-san.
at Adam. Rumble dash into the Q2.
Hmm.
Connect. Adam walks away slowly.
Drake stacking commences on the bot
ボ
side
ト
of
ル
the
が
map.
勝っているので当
Still
然ドラ
far
ゴンも
behind,
取れ
still
ると。
20 CS deficit,
いや
still
サイラ
double
ス
advantage
こん
as
な
well.
に CS
Gemini
取れてる
and
のは
CS
すごいな。
grabbing the second one also has the mythic advantage across the board, so there's no way BDS would ever want to take that fight. Looking
苦しい
more
マ
like
ッ
a
チアップだ
third
と
or
思うんですけ
fourth
れども
dragon that they
CS
will
ほ
have
とんど
to
変わり
contest
ま
at
せ
this
んか
point.
ら。
Yeah.
And Rift-
Wish. It's a tricky one, Mark. You know, I'm not really sure what BDS can do here because Crowny, while against a lot of these more bruiser
いや
style
これ
champions,
さっきの
looks
試合
like
とは
Notorious for just being able to survive
ちょっと
forever and
変わ
fight.
って
The
CFO
Alistar really
かなり
limits
有
that,
利です
especially
よ。
a phase rush Alistar who can just
めちゃくちゃ勝って
QW
ます。
in, ulti, hit you once, zoom in and out, stay on top of you, make
そ
sure that you
の
connect with that
序盤
stun.
かつマッ
It's
チア
gonna
ッ
be
プの
tricky to
2つの
navigate.
レ
A
ー
lot
ン
of pressure
が
from Rob now to find that great Taric ultimate.
両方
This is
負けちゃったので
gonna contest here around the blue buff. Smite.
ちょっとどうすればいいのかなという感じ
Yep,
だと
a
思い
little
ます。
early, it looked like from Sheo there maybe. And like you said, there are tools for BDS comp where if they go in, you get the Taric ultimate off because it wasn't super clean. Kalista builds a bunch of stacks up because she's invulnerable and hopefully free hitting during that time. Nuke shuffles people away, you rip them out.
サイラスはエヴァ
And
フロ
it's
スト
still
です
again
ね。
now only a 2,000 gold advantage, but the problem is it's going to keep creeping up because you honestly can't fight until you have your items. And
いや
they are
全然ダメージ
behind
取れる
CFO
ようになら
getting
な
there.
い。
The lead just grows and grows and grows. And
ね
by the time you
レ
have
ド
your
ック
items
ス
to
の
fight,
強化オートア
suddenly
タック
it's
一
three
発で
dragons and
も
a
うダ
4K
メージ
gold
トレード
advantage
成
if
立しない。
CFO continues to snowball.
Mid walking forward.
もっとフラッシュはあります。フラッシュありますけどもこれは無理ですね。
素
素晴らしい CC チェイト。キルを取ったのはアリスさんになっちゃったけれども。
Lane's looking good for CFO is the story
いい
here.
で
And
しょ。
that snapshot didn't take into account that kill, so I imagine even mid lane now in the favor of CFO.
That would be a 300 gold swing. Unfortunately, he did not pick it up.
いや
So
ボッ
it's
トル
getting the
ファーム
assist
に行
instead.
くことすらできない。
Nice aggressiveness. I like seeing Jimmy just flash in there, even though Sheo had
牛
flash
さ
nice and they
ん
had that timer. There's so much CC follow up that as
僕
long as you're locking down to start that off with.
あ
Oh!
はいじゃ
I couldn't tell. I didn't see a
あの
trio
砂
go
糖
over,
と
but
ア
maybe
イテ
he
ムを
didn't
持
have
った
any
チャンピオンがチロを取らないようにするっていう変更をずっと望んでます。
Adam, World Ender coming through. If he can get out without burning his zone ability.
サ
pull
ポート
back.
アイテムを持ってるチャンピオン
An ultimate advantage here. Doesn't need to reset. Hopefully he can pick up the Gore Drinker. This
ダ
lane
メー
is
ジが
very
チル
difficult.
チルにはならないと。
It's one of those feelings.
サポート以外の最後にダメージを与えたチャンピオンがチルを取る。これでどうですか？
At some point, hopefully in team fights, killing Shun or something. Because
この
otherwise,
サポー
yeah,
ト
the
に
side lane will
シャッ
largely
トダウン
be
が
in
入
BDS favor.
入る
We'll
だ
talk
け
about
で
where the matchup, assuming you're playing it correctly and you're
そ
able to
の
land
それだけ
some
で
of
ゲ
your
ームが
W
崩
and
壊す
Penalty
る。
and your Dark and Blades.
それはちょっと
There's
お
not
か
much
しいんじゃないでしょうか。
Renekton can do.
Yeah, it's an interesting balancing act. Actually, I love Aatrox as a champion just from watching people lane as and against him. There's this like beautiful dance of spacing where like you want to be on
ゼ
top
ラスサポート
of Q2 and Q3.
ゼラスサポートは
It's
ファー
like
ス
Q1
ト
and
スト
Q2
ライ
and
ク
then
で
you
お
just
金を
far away
稼いでくださいな。
from Q3 and watching that back and forth is always pretty fun. That said, not as fun when the Aatrox is sitting pretty on a Gore Drinker while Renekton only has bits and pieces.
タイって
Yeah, and your entire rest of your map
確か
is
に
falling
タイクはいい
behind.
チャンピオンですね。
Yeah.
I'm playing Renekton. What
タ
am
イ
I
クの
doing
ウル
here?
トでドレーブ
This
に
is
チ
what
ル
I was
が
gonna
入り
talk
ま
about.
すから
Drinker does everything pretty solid,
あれはいいチャンピオン。
but you know, he doesn't. There's not a niche. We're not waiting for a sudden window of opportunity where Adam is suddenly the
いや
strongest
サポー
champion.
ト
They don't know once
チ
third
ル
item
必要
comes
ない
online,
でしょ。
he's gonna do this, this, and that.
Great. Like he's always going to be a threat.
当てる。
Crowny locked up. Chain CC again coming through.
クレンズ
forcing out
発
the
動。
cleanse.
ちょっと
Crowny now just going to keep walking forward, knowing that he's not under a lot of threat.
お
Shouse
カリ
is
ス
still
タダメ
coming,
ージ
though. He
出
has
ま
to
す
be
よ。
careful. Adam going in.
レクトフラッシュ。サイラスを
Before he
刈り
can use
取
the
ってい
dominant.
く。
Shouse now needs to run. Zooming out to safety. Crowny desperate for more, but nice bit of a play there. It does mean Rex is gonna get a lot of time
しました。
unattended
代わりに
on the
トップ
top
の
side.
タワー
No
を失い
plates
ます
left,
ね。
but could just look to burn down that tower.
Still like
誰
the
も TP い
aggressive
ないので
teleport out of Adam. Quick
トップのタワーを
reaction
失い
to
ま
that
す。
so they can save Crowny and also
ちょっ
get
と
that
僕
punish
昔
kill
の
to
チャン
Jimmy
ピオンを知らないんですよ。
who threw those chains
若
out,
者
started
です
running
し
away,
この
ended
ゲー
up
ムを始め
really
たのも
close
そ
to
んなに
Kalista.
早くないですか
And
ら。
with that time, though, they do get a kill on the, or excuse me, turret on the top side, and they'll grab the Rift Herald as well. It is at least getting some gold back into BDS, because otherwise, how else will you be able to trade turrets if you're just losing in most of your lanes or down pressure at the very least?
私も今年から始めたある
Drags Jimmy now.
Oh,
Ooh, not
punto
quite
desu ka?
gonna connect there. Would have been able to take the 1v1 you assume with the dominant
世界一面
advantage.
白いゲームリーグオブレジェン
Did
ズ
save the
み
turret
んなも
with
プレ
teleport,
イ
so
しよう。
while I'm sure BDS will grab that shortly, it is sometimes a little frustrating. You just need that like 100 gold. a little
Well,
bit
and
more.
like you look at the objectives
これ
coming
ミッ
up,
ドラン
32
割れちゃいます
seconds
ね。
to Dragon. That staggers a recall timer. That frees up CFO to push in this mid lane, and it's absolutely worth the expenditure.
Chelsea?
Chelsea is
嘘が出てますけれども
oh nuke isolated.
エイトロックスさんのパワーで味る CC
Trying to bait him in. Rest now
Just
just
the
gonna blast
exit
coming out to
that's
safety.
done.
The stun not quite gonna catch him in
セ
midair.
です。
That was almost very suspect, but everyone manages to make it out safe. Ultimately, Ref's forced to flash.
Having some happy game a little bit right now with Xiaoxi going over the wall before the Rift Herald was in
レネクトンのウ
range,
ルト
taking a
発
ton
動
of
して
damage, and then Rest having a really nice trade onto Nuke, and then Nuke
いらないウルトを使ったという
baiting
こ
him
と
in,
です
and the
か
rest of the team able to collapse, getting the flash out of Rest, limiting his playmaking as we head towards this third dragon, and BDS getting the inside track on it because, again, Xiaoxi had to go back to base and heal up.
Excellent window of opportunity to try to capitalize on here. Crowny not opting for the Blade, the Rune King opting for the Rage Blade as well, so more Spear's going to be in that dragon, that much
あ、な
easier
んか
to
合
secure.
計ダメー
There
ジ
should
す
be
ごいら
no
しいですね
way
レネクトン
for CFO to win the 50-50
どっ
with
ちが
Crowny
取
having
る
many spears and eyes on the prize.
セジュールが
Now the
突起
follow-up has to stop in its tracks. Xiaoxi's there, but there's no effective
彼
damage
とのウル
output.
トで無敵
Solid fight for
だっ
BDS
たけ
thus
れども
far. Do
こ
they
こ
want
時
to
間
commit
切
or
れま
back
し
away
た
with what they got? Crowny just continuing to step forward, knowing he's under no threat.
アジ
Xiaoxi
のウルト
over-committing into the Taurak, and now Adam is instantly looking to follow up. BDS finding the angle, too, into the back pocket of Crowny.
カリスタに通知で入りましたけれどもドラゴンを取ったのは CFO と
Gemini in back pocket of bot lane almost the entire game. Crowny
今
is
回
finding
面
ways
白
to
そう
contribute
ですよ
LeBron.
この
The
日
nice
中で
ultimate
カリ
pulling
ス
off
タ
the
は
combination that we were saying was how you can win
結構
these fights. Getting
救わ
the
れま
Terran
したね
ultimate off. Xiaoxi going in right then and being able to just stack up spears in him. Once the Alistar ult drops off, you blow him up. And saving grace for CFO in this situation was they did continue the dragon stacking. I like the setup here out of
これ
CFO.
スマイトバトル
Threatening from multiple angles. They get this away. That's great because Sheo was
Dragon
kind of more
取れず
worried about dying than getting the smite right there. But then once the Taric ultimate drops, Xiaoxi going in just gives them a target to
平和的
focus
解
down. And
決
the
ゲ
rest
ー
of
トオブ
CFO
レ
is
ジェン
split
ズで
and
で
look
き
like
る
they
か
were
な
just back off from there. And then Rest
あ、これスタ
stuck
ン当た
around
っ
just
ちゃったの
slightly
か
too long. He ends up dropping as well.
ヤッ
with the
シー
rest
で
of
何もで
BDS
きず
off the
フォ
wall
ワード
and
レンカーも発動できず
maybe beginning to
レ
find
ネ
their
クトン
angle
つ
into
なが
this
った
game.
エイトロックス
Yeah.
出られました
And I think for CFO, we're noticing a concerning trend of these like spectator objectives, where they show up and they're kind of just hoping that BDS
カ
fumble
イ
the
サのア
bag
イ
and
テ
that
ム
they
なんだ
can
これインシニ
jump
チエ
in and steal something away.
ッジェルフォー
Xiaoxi
ス
overcommitting.
いや
Saw it
ちょっ
in
とわ
game
かん
one
な
as
いな
well, and I think it's
何買うんだろ
either
う
go and contest and fight or don't. But this spending so much time just to lose
名
members
残
of
か
the
さすがに
exchange and power that Taric ultimate very apparent in the previous fight. With no immediate follow-up, with no immediate burst damage coming through, it's so easy to just wait out that channel time and leverage it to its fullest.
Yeah, really nice stuff out of BDS. Still 2,500 gold behind. Still, the dragon went over to CFO, so there's huge pressure on this next one to make sure that they don't get it. But at the end of the day, they did get some more gold in their back pocket.
Yeah, and completely wrong there, because I missed the steal, so thank you for calling it out, Mark, because that shouldn't happen against a Callista. And CFO do make it happen. So actually, the grand scheme of things probably worked. That much closer to
アジールさんのサイラスアームガードなんて買ってますよ
Certainly against the poke of a
ビルシティンですか
demonic
突リ防具アイテム買ってますよ
You know, able to stay healthy
許
if
せませ
they
んよ
are
ね
walking into saplings. Always feels nice to kind of negate one of the strongest parts of Maokai's kit. Still will have vision control. We'll still have to walk into them, but even with demonic red smite, will not be quite as much damage as you're absorbing through the healing of the ocean. Now we see Nuke in a bit of trouble. Gets the
フォワードの位置を確認していく
back off there.
ちょっとアジールは怖いですよこれ
You know, fight the Emperor and his little mini kingdom here on the bottom side. As brief as it will be.
Setting up, clearing out some vision. My question is from here, how does
カニ
CFO
は
win
欲
this
しい
game? Because we saw
こ
them
のゲーム
in the losing position in the
こ
previous
の
game.
消されない視界というだけで
With their
強
backs
い
against the wall, find that aggressive angle. Now in the
とても
driver's seat
強い
of
で
the
す
game,
カ
how
ニ
they want to pilot it. That
この
last
魔王界の唾
objective,
液
I
も
will
また
chalk
消
up
され
to
ない
a
視界
series of unfortunate events.
消そうとす
They
ると
lemony snicketed their
視
way
界
into
取ら
that
れ
where
てダメー
Xiaoxi
ジも
gets
食ら
chunked
う
out by flashing the wall too early, then Rest loses his flash, and then they're late to the dragon, and then they're trying to
It's
contest
kind
it.
of, because they get the steal though, it's kind of like all, even though it's questionable, ultimately it's like, all's well that ends well, which isn't a great way to look at League of Legends from a competitive standpoint, but sometimes you take the dubs you can get.
Yeah, but projecting forward, if you keep doing that,
That's
eventually you probably should not win
I know
that
what you're
game.
talking about. If we keep doing it, we get Ocean Soul in the next one.
Fair enough.
You know?
That is a.
セジャーにはビサルマスク
There's
です
nothing wrong
ね
with flipping, right? That's gambling in a nutshell.
I'm not gonna do the copy pasta.
You're not gonna do the gambler's fallacy thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
あ
all
ビ
right.
サルマスク大人気だ
One
な
more away. No,
やっ
here
ぱりこのアイ
I
テム
would
が
say
強
you
いと
see
いう
that
こと
Goldie
皆
kind
さ
of
ん
plateauing,
分かってま
unfortunately
すね
for CFO. You want to have a little bit more control, and
このアイテ
those
ム
kills
強いんです
did
よ
matter. It did get Crowny to a spot where he feels pretty relevant, even items at least with Shun here. And so while Kaisa will outscale the Callista, at least at this portion of the game, you are
Mao
very, very
Kaisaは
relevant.
ちょっ
if
と
you're
ア
able
イ
to
テムが
stack
足
up
りない
spears.
か
And I like BDS kind of putting their foot on the gas here and saying, we don't want to just keep even farming and go into the next dragon.
Yeah. BDS. CFO have the
えっと
gold lead.
カリスタがいるので
BDS
バロンスティールは
dictating the pace of the game right now. CFO
されにくい
of course played their tune.
普通されます せん。これはもう借り切りましょう。借り切ることしかないです。借り切りしかない。カリスタのダメージならバロンスチールされないはず。ナイス。お、バロンを取った上、さらにちょっと CFO さん、カリスタのフリーディールなんですけど、あれ、これちょっと試合が
taking his time, shouldn't run it for his life, but it does matter. He gets lost in the sauce, the disrespect more important than just finishing the job.
ナメプしたレネクトンがナメプしたレネクトン指導。これは天罰ですね。ナメプしたものに対する天罰。これもう借り切るしかないですね。バロンはやるしかない。出ましたか。いやー、カリックのウルトで無敵になったレネクトンが強すぎる。そしてカリッサがフリーディール。はいはい、サイラスが下手。いろいろなコメントをいただいてます。これちょっとナメプ以外の何者でもない。ダメージ舐めてました。これ、このビチキルで運命変わりますから。まずい、逃げるんだ。この1キルが本当に負ける原因になること全然ありますから。
どうしてタリックの無敵を奪ってこないの。
カリックのウルトクールダウンでもないと思うんですけれども、やっぱり無敵バリア欲しいですよね。無敵ですよ。
towards CFO, but that Baron flip coming up huge for him. And again, in a perfect world, not a flip.
カリスタのことをちゃんと守ってくれ。ちょっとこれやりすぎだぞ。ここ3人はさすがに3人でのプッシュは舐めてる。逆に次のエンゲージを誘ってからの住宅通りなんですわ。ナイス。ここまで住宅通りと3人でプッシュした愚かな神を演じ、敵が当然演技してくるので、そこをカリックのウルトとテレポートでカウンターすると。微弱は一応プレイですか、これが。普通は3人でウェブプッシュはありえないです。1-4で分かれます。
I gotta tell you, LeBron's Tarek has been impressing me here.
普通は1対4でプッシュするんですけど、ここ3人でプッシュしてたら絶対エンゲージされますから。でもそれも計画通りだったと。カリックのウルトも計算通りで、このダブル TT からのカウンターと、わ、これはうますぎる。いやー、あんなに苦しんでたカリスタが喜んでますよ。
Making this combination for both champions, kind of utilizing it to the fullest, making it look good.
And really heads up drafting and throws an extra wrinkle into what I think
カリスタも5キル2デス5アシスト、0キル2デスとかだったのに、もう3後半できちゃった。カイセよりもビルド進んじゃいましたよ。
These things that will answer compositions. When CFO goes full dive, full send, full commit to blowing up targets, and you flex in the Callista and the Tarek, and you're able to counter the enemy composition, it makes you have to pay way more attention in the draft into what you're actually playing.
順調に CS を食べてます。裏から TP 来てますよ。これ、分かってはいるでしょう。気づいてはいると思います。
Fate's call coming out, thrown in the
いや
midst of the team. The shield coming in again. There's no angle here for CFO. They're moving in to just get slaughtered. Crowny again, still standing. But they don't have the money. They don't have the comp. They have nothing left. That fight was not good, and BDS punished them for trying to take it.
A 5-0 clean ace out of BDS. They destroy CFO. The minions are showing up now to help them end this game. That should be it.
カリスタカニック
Barrel down the mid lane. They were in control.
何年か前は結構ピックされてたんですけど、あまり強い姿は見れなかったんですが、これがコンボピックのパワー。
They will move on.
ちょっとナメとまたいますよ。このアジーレ何ですか？
For some reason, they will take their time, but they will take the win as well. BDS one best of 5 away from securing the Swiss stage.
そうです。ドラゴンからちょっと試合がカリスタに2キル入って、そこからずっと成長し続けましたね。難しいと思うんですけども、全部うまくやりましたよ。いや BDS 強い。
And that game right there.
ベトナムの2位に負けたチームなんですけども、ここもまた修正力があると。
Game 1 slow steady. Again, 1 or 2 fumbles almost cost you the game, but didn't because you were in control and you had a big enough lead.